Oh boy, I love compliments. They're the tastiest kind of mint. Ugh. That's a terrible dad joke. Hey friends, how's it going? Ash here with Gents. Hope they're doing well today. Today I'm going to be talking to you guys about 10 different compliment pulling fragrances that are suited for gentlemen, or really anybody that wants to smell like a gentleman. I guess you technically don't need to be one. You could actually be kind of like a slime ball, but you could smell like a gentleman. So these fragrances, they're really good at pulling positive attention, compliments, like I said, but they don't go as heavily toward that more typical side of being really potentially in your face or bubblegummy sweet, that kind of stuff. Instead, it's more refined. So let's jump into it. Let's check these out. Gotta love a good old compliment getting video, because I know a lot of people out there, man, they get triggered when they see that. She's doing another video about compliments. I can't stand it. All right, if we're doing a video about compliments for gentlemen, why not kick it off with a fragrance that is literally named Gentleman? They did the work for me there. This one's Gentleman Eau de Parfum BOISEE. Really enjoy this fragrance. Extreme wearability. You can nearly pull this off year round. Nearly, in the middle of summer. Go with something different, but what are you gonna do? This one is iris based. The iris in here, more that creamy sort of iris, not really soapy or powdery. You have cacao in here giving you sweetness, bits of spice coming from black pepper, and a touch of sandalwood as well. This is a line of fragrances that I absolutely love. Really, about any of the gentleman fragrances you could tag as a compliment pulling, gentlemanly sort of fragrance. They all are. They're all really well done. This one especially so if you're just going for maximum versatility, like I mentioned before. Next, I'm going to talk about a fragrance from Varvatos XX Artisan. Now this thing, really both the XX fragrance, all the XX fragrances, there are 3 of them now. You can see even with me, they don't really get talked about very much, don't really get a lot of love. Now Varvatos has never really been massive as far as fragrances go. They've always been kind of second tier, middle tier as far as designer brands go. I mean, you've got your Dolce & Gabbanas, your Armanis, your Chanels, your Dior's, your Yves Saint Laurent's, up there at the top. And then you have that tier below with stuff like Jimmy Choo and Varvatos and some other brands that are maybe not as well known for their fragrances, Michael Kors, stuff like that. But with that being said, Varvatos has had fragrances that kind of have hit pretty well. Artisan Pure, vintage, fragrances like that people go, this is really good. I like it. But at some point they have fallen off a bit, and XX Artisan just gets basically no recognition whatsoever. It has bitter orange, cedar, vetiver, which I absolutely love, and Sichuan pepper. This stuff is classy. It's gentlemanly, it's refined, it's grown up, but at the same time doesn't come across smelling old. It's really well done. As an office fragrance, this stuff crushes. As a business type situational fragrance, really good. Also great casually, and it's a fragrance that pairs very well with a suit or a polo. Just don't pop the collar. Douchebag initiate. I'm just playing. If you want to pop your collar, you do you, man. Wear 3 polos, pop all 3 collars, who cares? XX Artisan though, really nice, completely under the radar. Would not surprise me a bit if that gets killed off sooner rather than later. Varvatos, not shy about discontinuing fragrances, and as I've touched on before, they're going through a bit of a hard time anyway in terms of cash flow, so yeah. Now I want to talk about good old Mugler cologne. It's a classic. Nowadays though, this comes as a come together. So it's Mugler cologne come together. Essentially you just want to find the Mugler cologne that's neon green. That's the one I'm talking about. They've got some other good ones though that they've come out with in that line. So you don't necessarily need to only check this one out, but it still is the granddaddy of them. It's the papa. It's the big boss man. It's got neroli, bergamot, petitgrain, and musk. That's some of the notes in the fragrance. This one is soapy clean and fresh, and this one is perfect for spring and summertime, and you can pull this off basically in any situation imaginable. This is one of the most versatile scents out there. Also, to an extent, you could think of this as a more affordable version of Original Vetiver by Creed. It's very similar, only much more affordable. Now we're going to talk about Icon from Dunhill. Now, Dunhill has had some fragrances that are, how do we put it? Horrible. And we're talking about some of the fragrances in this line, especially the newer ones, Icon Racing Red and Blue. Oh man, those are really bad. This one though, the original Icon, this is quality stuff. And it's pretty affordable from discounters as well. The bottle itself feels good in the hand, nice and heavy. It looks classy as well. It's got black pepper, vetiver, lavender, bergamot, and neroli. It gets some comparisons to Terre d'Hermes, which frankly would also fit really well in this list, but done with a bit of a twist. This one is probably, as of right now, the pinnacle of the main designer lines from Dunhill. Not talking about their more expensive stuff, their more private label type stuff, if you want to call them that, their signature scents. Just as far as their easily found, more affordable fragrances go, this one's the top. Now we've got a Chanel and a darn good one, Pour Monsieur, and this is the Eau de Parfum. It's got lemon, vanilla, nutmeg, and lavender as some of the notes in the fragrance. This one has a great creamy sort of sweetness to it, and it's melded together with this more old school throwback kind of classically masculine style. So you have this refined, gentlemanly aspect to it, but then all the edges are smoothed out with that lemon and the vanilla. You also get a touch of vetiver in here as well, which of course I'm always there for. I love it. Now with this being a Chanel, it's pretty much never gonna be cheap. You don't really find Chanels at discounters, and Chanel has been known to actually sue discounters in the past that do carry their fragrances heavily marked off, so there's a good reason that you're not gonna find them there. Rest in peace, Notino USA. You messed with the wrong person or company. But Pour Monsieur smells amazing. The versatility is through the roof. It's going to appeal more to middle-aged guys and older, I'd say, but it is just a great fragrance. Now this next one is a little bit different than all the other ones on the list. It sticks out a little bit. It's By the Fireplace from Maison Martin Margiela, part of their replica line of fragrances, and the fragrance description here is burning wood and chestnut. So this one has vanilla and spices along with gaiac wood, which is what's going to lend a little bit of that smokiness to the woody aspect of the fragrance, and then of course chestnut as well. This one is thought of more as like a cozy, kind of cuddly fragrance for fall and winter time, and it definitely is that. But at the same time, it does have a nice refined edge to it. It's not, again, like I said at the beginning of the video, too in your face. It does have sweetness, but it doesn't have like a head bashingly bubblegummy sweetness. And it gives you kind of a change up from some of the other fragrances here, because a lot of these are going to be more for office wear type situations, you know, more formal type situations. This one gives you a really nice cool weather, cozy type scent that it's still a big compliment puller and has a touch of refinement to it. So By the Fireplace. Next two fragrances, we're going to double dip into Dior. First one, Dior Homme 2020. That's right, Dior Homme 2020. The bane of so many people's existences, apparently. So this one has Isoi Super Cashmere, Vetiver, Pink Pepper, and Bergamot, among other notes. Don't do this. It's very stupid. This one I hated on immensely when it first came out. Just kind of a snap decision, really, where I was kind of raging against the machine, which is Christian Dior, changing up my beloved Dior Homme. But now I've come to accept it. I'm like Dr. Strangelove. Some of you out there get that, some of you don't, but it's okay. That one, possibly more than any other fragrance here, is just the pinnacle of modern men's perfumery in terms of versatility for designer fragrances. Any season, daytime, nighttime, any situation, it will work. It will have you smelling classy. It'll have you smelling like $1,000,000. People are going to notice it. It's just one of those fragrances. It is, to me, how Dior Sauvage Eau de Toilette was to so many people when it first came out, where you just couldn't go wrong with it. It's like a magical elixir. You wear it anywhere and it's like, oh yeah, I'm smelling good. And I know it. It's fresh, but at the same time has this good amount of density to it. It's got a very modern take on a woodsy scent profile, kind of this fuzzy warmth throughout. Dior Homme 2020 killer scent. And the next Dior, Sauvage Elixir. Cinnamon, lavender, licorice, and sandalwood. This thing lasts and projects monstrously off my skin. It is unholy, actually. Like, it shouldn't project like this. It shouldn't perform like this. And, you know, people, they're definitely noticing me. You know, I'll spray just a few sprays and I think, okay, that's good. That's enough. And then I'll go somewhere and I'll be standing kind of like in a crowd or in a line or something like that. And I'll start thinking, oh man, I am smelling it super strongly right now. I know everybody else is too. I hope you like Sauvage Elixir. Really though, it does smell great. Has this kind of throwback feel to it, this slight 80s vibe to me, done in a very modern type of way. And it is a great compliment puller, just like all the other Sauvage fragrances, though this one in a much different way as compared to the EDT or the EDP. And this one, the way it's constructed, is going to appeal more to guys that are probably in their 30s and up. I mean, maybe mid to late 20s as well, as long as you wear it with confidence, but it's not as youthful as the original couple releases in the line were. We're coming up on the end. Next up, Narciso Rodriguez for Hilm Bleu Noir Eau de Parfum. I love the bottle. I love the blue coloration of the glass, and then the inside of the bottle is actually painted as well. Which does create a little bit of an issue if you're trying to figure out how much you have left. It's pretty hard to see. You try to shine a light through there and it's like a black hole. It's got musk, vetiver, cedar, and amber. This one does have more of that powdery, clean, soapy musk, slightly floral kind of vibe as compared to some of the other fragrances that I mentioned here in the video. Got a really nice opening, very pleasant, and it makes sense with the Bleu Noir name because it does have kind of a blue fragrance versatility with that opening. Very likable, easy to pull off. As it dries down, that's when it's going to take on more of that slightly powdery, musky, clean vibe. It's a line that gets overlooked very often. I mean, really, it just seems to be fragrance type people that talk about Narciso Rodriguez at this point as far as the men's fragrances go. So it flies under the radar, but it's really, really nice, very appealing, and it has a great attractive quality to it. Last but not least, this one from 96, I believe, KITON Men. Bottle looks pretty cheap, actually, when you compare it to everything else here. I'd say it looks like the cheapest of them all, and the cap really doesn't do much to dispel that because it's just, it weighs nothing. It's got pineapple, violet, musk, bergamot, and sage. Definitely has a little bit of that, you know, mid-90s vibe to it, but it still works really well. Gets compared sometimes to Creed's Green Irish Tweed, so it's kind of in that style, in that wheelhouse, you know, this kind of fresh, green, uplifting, and brisk scent profile. The violet underneath everything else gives this very faint whisper of almost like a like a leathery type floral. Not entirely 100% removed from something like the way the violet comes across in maybe Aqua Fahrenheit, something like that. Now, this does not smell like Aqua Fahrenheit. Not what I'm saying. They're very, 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 very different fragrances. Just talking about the violet itself, when you kind of try to pick that note out of the crowd and say, well, what does that remind me of? Really nice fragrance though. It's a great suit and tie kind of scent, great white t-shirt fragrance as well, more spring and summer type fragrance, early fall as well, and more of a daytime scent. Even though it's maybe past its glory years, still a fantastic fragrance to have in the collection, and just an easy, breezy, clean, fresh, classy type of scent to throw on one day. There we go. 10 compliment pullers for the gentlemen out there. Yeah, gentlemen. Yeah. Got kind of a nice smorgasbord of fragrances here. Some that work better in cool weather, some better in warm weather, some a little more casual, some a little more formal, but all of these work fantastically. All right, guys, that's going to do it for me. Thanks for hanging with me. Thanks for your support. Stay safe out there. See you guys tomorrow with another fragrance video. See you later.